My name's Jonathan Johnson. I've been racing cars for 15 years now. I started when I was 10, driving NHRA junior dragsters, which was a half-scale version of the top fuel dragsters that most people know of as the long skinny cars that run 300 miles an hour. They did a whopping 40 miles an hour in the 8th mile, but you know, when you were 10, that was pretty fast. I guess our family still had a super street car at the same time, and I stepped into that and won the first race I went to with that. By that time, I had graduated high school, gone through Lamar University's Institute of Technology with a computer drafting degree, as well as doing business school. At that point, I transferred to Texas A&M and continued to race on the weekends. That summer, I went and kind of achieved one of my goals, which was to get my top alcohol funny car license. I ran with a team out of Oklahoma. Next year, I went and drove for the Etterman racing team out of Newaygo, Michigan for a full year, and we finished 4th in division and 18th nationally out of 80 some odd cars. So we had a good year with that. I didn't really know what I was going to do at that point. I had bought a dirt modified just as something to play with, and realized that I was going to graduate from A&M in May of this year, and really was not going to be able to travel like I was traveling with the alcohol car, because when we were in school, I'd just leave on Thursdays and go race Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and fly back Sunday night or Monday morning in time to be back for classes. We did well. I think I got to run 7 or 8 races. I would have liked to have won one, but we've been pretty fortunate in this area. There's some pretty tough competitions. It's been a learning process. They're a lot more complicated than what I thought. I sold the car I had, which was a few years old, and bought the car behind me. Of course, the next weekend the guy hadn't come and got my old car, so I went and ran it and broke the motor. So I sat out the rest of the year trying to get everything ready for next year, and that's kind of where you see things now. We picked up corporate sponsorship from a company called Bars Leaks. All of our marketing stuff has always been done kind of in-house. It was always me doing it. I had some help from some other people. My fiance is a big part of that. It's cool to have her involved in it, and she's supportive of it. I get a little obsessed with it sometimes, but everybody has their hobbies. I don't hunt and fish, so this is my overly expensive hobby. When I go to race, I'm out there to win. I'm not really out there for anybody else's entertainment, but you know, my philosophy is I'm not going to go wreck somebody to win. I'll race them as close and as hard as I possibly can in order to get a win, but I'm not going to take somebody out to get a win, because I don't expect that to be done to me, and I have a little more respect for everybody else's equipment. We all work hard to put all of our hard-earned money in these cars and this equipment, and you know, I'm just not going to tear somebody else's stuff up for no reason. But you know, like I say, I'm not out there for anybody else's entertainment but my own, and when I go to win. I've always just kind of been one of those people that I work real hard to treat people the way I want to be treated, and maybe I'm overly nice to some people. I kind of if somebody rubs on me, I'll blow it off as just a racing thing, even though sometimes it's not, or you know, I got to go out of my way to do things for some people. I got real active with some of the scouting activities a few years back, and kind of incorporated my racing with that. We do a program with the Race Against Drugs Corporation out of Daytona Beach, where we would go into some schools and talk about the importance of taking a hobby and using that as your focal point to kind of keep a straight life. And I guess what kind of fed off of that is we did some things for the Cub Scout groups and so forth, because they like the racing as a backdrop. You know, that's what I enjoy doing, so it gets their attention. And if you can get a couple kids a message out of that, then it's well worth it. But as far as the nice guy thing, that just basically all boils back to, you know, I'm out there because I enjoy the sport and I enjoy the people out there, and I just don't like confrontation, having problems. So I'm gonna be as nice as I can to most people, and you know, if it gets noticed, so be it. If it doesn't, that's okay. I'm happy when I leave.
Whatever your little heart desires. And I'm afraid if you ever got hit in the rear or something, it could pull it down like this and touch, and that's going to start that electrical fire.
No.
Under it?
No.
You won't ever see it?
No.
It's not going to need it, really. I don't think so.
But we're going to put a cover over the terminals, and either A, putting one of those battery maintainers in here, or like on the drag car, external.
If you're going to do that, make it external, because the only thing I don't like about that is when you start washing this, you're going to get that maintainer wet.
Yeah. Plus mud hits up under there and everything also.
This is simple.
Of what? Take the carburetor off, get the hood back on it.
All carburetor hits? No, we didn't even put a hole in it.
Yeah, we don't have a hole in the hood yet.
This side, this right here, catches more head than any side.
Well, we did it, baby. We've gotten a car lettered. We've tested the car once. We've got our crew uniforms in. We've got our support equipment taken care of. Like I said, we tested the car once with some good results. We bought a new shock package to try to help make the car handle a little bit better in changing track conditions. The other big event since we spoke last is my father purchased a racetrack here in Beaumont, renamed it from Motorama Speedway to Golden Triangle Raceway Park.
First race I went to, I just loved it. I thought it was the greatest thing. I really beat drag racing, which was what I was doing before. Jonathan found out that I wasn't going to be racing too much. I went over there one night to kind of just help him and hang out a little bit. And Jonathan's dad kind of asked me what it would take, you know, to get him to come and get me to come help him. And I just, you know, pretty much said I can just come over and help you and do what I can. Now it's a full-blown deal. And, Jonathan called me the next day after he asked me, and I said I'd be real enthused to do it. And that's pretty much how it all started. The whole Jonathan and Katie and Tony deal. When I first even heard of Jonathan, he was drag racing, and I didn't really care too much. You know, he was just some guy that had, you know, gotten out of the neighborhood and actually done a little bit of good. And you know, and then next thing I know, he's showing up at the dirt track and running some guy's car, and I thought, yeah, look at this guy, you know, he'll be out of it pretty soon, you know. Next thing I know, he's buying a car. My long-term goal is to not have to work and just race all the time. That's my long-term goal. He's a pretty good guy. Yeah, when I finally met him and talked to him, I thought, you know, he's a decent guy. You know, everybody wants to talk to him and everything, and he's real easy to talk to. So I've enjoyed the time that I've gotten to work with him and his fiance. We have not the best equipment money can buy, but it's one of the best chassis that you can buy. It's a very good car. It's capable of winning. The driver's capable of winning. We just have to put the two together.
The new car was really good. Once I kind of got a handle for how the suspension change we made was going to handle it, I was really kind of looking forward to going forward. I could put the car where I wanted to, and it would go with me, and it was really a nice feeling. So I think we could have won it. By no means, since we had too much ground to cover coming from the back, but I think that we had a solid top 5 car. started the night in the heat race. We were running real well, had it flat, so essentially we started in the back of the feature. We made it 3 or 4 laps. I kind of got a handle for the car. A guy sort of spin out in front of me, and I picked up the gas to try to go underneath him, and he did a real quick donut and put his bumper basically all the way through my right front tire and up on the hood and crinkled it and went through the radiator and so forth. So just kind of a rough night at the racetrack. One of those things that I guess happens with racing, but you don't ever like it to. So we'll take a week or so, regroup, and come back out. On our schedule, we probably had 25 or 30 right now. You don't really ever want to miss any more than what you have to. I mean, when things like this happen, I mean, unless you're going to kill yourself with overnight second day freight, you know, you got to order some parts. And I've got spares on a lot of things, and unless I can get my other radiator fixed, you know, it's just one of those things. Points actually don't start till next Friday. So it was a prelim night that went bad.
Jonathan and I met at school. We both went to Texas A&M. We were in the College of Architecture and had a drawing class together. So just started talking from there and had a lot of the same friends and just kind of started dating after that. I really enjoy his racing. It's something that's very productive for him. He's not, you know, going out to bars and spending all his time, you know, out late and whatnot. He's doing something that's really takes some brain power sometimes, and he really loves it. He loves finding sponsors and finding a way to approach it in a business-like manner. He's been racing since he was 10, and so I think it's a great hobby for him. We've been dating for about 3.5 years, so I've seen him go through the Super Gas, which was drag racing,
Park, or Houston Raceway Park last weekend. We ran well, came here, ran well again in our heat race, and started outside front row of the feature. I got a little miscued there during the race. We were involved in, I guess what you'd say is a caution. A guy started to spin out, a guy hit him in front of me, kind of blocked the area that I was where I couldn't correct, so I just bumped him there at the end. Which is, you don't really want to do it, but if you don't have any other choice, I always end up with a funny car rather than park the car, because if I hit him square in the front, it doesn't hurt anything on my car. Unfortunately, it's just one of those racing things, but so be it. It didn't really hurt anything on our car whatsoever, so that's fine too. And we'll get everything ready, and like I said, be back for